we are going to talk about ethical issues that are involved regarding. Maybe you remember about companies such as Enron and a lot of and what it is. So what is means doing is right. Right is but everyone um so they are trying to actually enforce ethical on a lot of code of ethics. So for example, the code of um, you know, also there are of that. So I can give you also another example. When I was working for a company, a Lafarge company as a help desk, that was my first job. There was another employee that was working in the IT department, and many times we have seen that he was actually looking at people's password, and he knew everybody's password. So that is kind of an unethical situation. Where as a computer professional, you should not try to remember people's password or kind of know it. And so also you might have access to a lot of information. Like for example, maybe when I was working as a HRIT analyst, I had access to everybody's pay information. So I knew what my boss is making, what my friend is making. So I could not go and tell everybody what they were making. So that's unethical behavior as well. Okay, now we are going to talk about censorship. As you know, there is no organization that controls the whole web. There are two types of informations that are available on the web, public one and the private one. Public information can be posted by any company or public agency and can be censored for public policy reasons, such as not allowing military secrets to be published, and also maybe some information can be censored because it's offensive in regards of religious or some cultural group. However, private information is what is posted by a person, is not subject to that censorship because of our constitutional and freedom of expression. Of course, whether or not something can be censored depends in part on who is doing the censoring. For example, if you agree to abide by companies' terms of service, that service provider of the company could deny you access of certain information. Another type of censorship is basically restricting access to the web. Some countries, such as Burma, China, Singapore, and Iran, restricts or forbid their citizens to be able to access the web, and they try to censor the information that could be posted as well. A lot of people in US don't want the government to control the web access. But a lot of parents are concerned about what their children are exposed to while using the web, such as pornography, adult language, and violence. Another concern is that the children searching for information on the web could also maybe bring up some pornography sites. So a lot of parents, they are trying to use programs such as Cyber Patrol, Cyber Seeder, Net Nanny, and SafeSurf to prevent their children access to certain websites. Of course, there are some web browsers that you can install for the children that may accept email from an address that uses the same web browser. So this can help making sure that your children receiving the email from another children. Now we are going to talk about intellectual property. Intellectual property is a legal umbrella covering protection that involves copyrighted, trademarks, trade secret, and patent for creation of the mind. It can be developed by people or businesses. We could have two types of categories: industrial property, which deals with inventions, trademarks, logos, industrial design, and copyrighted material, covers literature and artistic work. Generally, copyright laws protect tangible materials, such as books, drawing. However, they also cover online materials, such as web pages, HTML codes, and computer graphics, as long as the content can be printed or saved on a storage. Copyrights have some exceptions, however, usually under the fair use doctrine. These exceptions means you can use copyrighted material for such purposes, such as quoting a passage of a book in a literature review. So what is a trademark? Trademark protects products' name and identifying marks, such as logos. What is a patent? Patent protects new processes. There are laws that are regarding trademarks, patent, and copyright that are in the United States, but that doesn't apply to other countries. The length of copyright also varies based on the type of work. In general, copyrights last author's lifetime, plus 70 years, and don't need to be renewed. However, patents last 20 years. There are some advantages to patent for some organization. One, they can create revenues by licensing its patent to others. They can also use the patent to attract funding and research for research development, as well as keep competitors from entering certain market segments. Another copyright concern is software piracy. There are some laws regarding software piracy. One that has been revised in 1980, that they have revised the Copyright Act of 1976, which included computer programs. So both people and the organization can be held liable for unauthorized duplication and use of copyrighted materials. There are also some laws regarding telecommunication, which it is a telecommunication act, which covers everything regarding the telecommunication, as well as there is a communication decency act, as well as there are laws against spamming. To avoid the legal risk, organizations should also have internet user policy in place. Cyber squatting, which is registering, selling, or using domain name for profit from someone else's trademark. This is one aspect of intellectual property that also, we need to pay attention to it. And normally, this process involves buying domain name containing the name of existing businesses and then selling the name for profit. There is another type of cyber squatting, which is called typo squatting, which also called URL hijacking. This technique also relies on typographical errors, which is made by web user when they type a website address into the web browser. For example, instead of whitehouse.org, they type whitehouse.gov. And then so it would redirect the information to the other address. Verizon actually made a between 2008 against Online Nick. Online Nick registered domain names such as Verizon, myverizonwireless.com, iPhone verizonplans.com, and verizoncellular.com. So Verizon won this lawsuit, and it got awarded $33 million in judgment. The next thing that we will talk about is about digital divide. Some believe that information technology and internet have created a digital divide between the information rich and poor. It's true that the price of computers are decreasing, and but still computers not affordable for many people. So in order to solve this problem, we need to increase funding for computers at school, public places, and also by getting a grant or some kind of a funding for poor area of the cities as well.